Welcome back to a New York Knicks player preview. Today we have Jalen Brunson, the captain. Jalen Brunson. In case you're new here, we've been doing a player preview for every single New York Knick. And I'm excited to get into this one, Chris. Jalen Brunson, obviously the captain, the leader, the dude who saved the franchise when he signed here a few years ago from the Dallas Mavericks. Already still have Mark Cuban crying about that, by the way, in the media.
Still to this day.
They should have got pinged another pick. We think that was too little. Please. Jalen Brunson, diving into him, new coach. Obviously, Brunson is coming off, perhaps, Chris, his best season of his career. Obviously, earning league-wide respect every single time you see him do something incredible in a playoff game, in a playoff series, which it seems like every single year. At this point, it's like all you could do is just be like, wow, tip your hat to the guy. I mean, he's doing this 6 foot. And look, now he has a new coach, new system. We have to see how he adjusts to this, Chris. But the captain, number 11, JB.
Yeah, what more can you say about Jalen Brunson? I mean, like you mentioned, he's been phenomenal for us. Like you mentioned, Mark Cuban still crying over not signing Jalen Brunson. They had their chances, obviously. But look, JB coming into this season, I'm excited, man. Obviously, with Coach Brown, they're trying to run up and down the court. They're trying to play faster. It's an adjustment. I've liked what I've seen so far from JB. I feel like he's getting, not really getting to his spots per se and kind of trying to find his way in the offense, but I have no doubt he's going to pull through and he's going to find success in this new offense. And look, it looks like he's slimmed down in preparation for running up and down the court. So good things. But what were your thoughts on Jalen Brunson during this few preseason games? We got to get a little glimpse of what we could possibly expect.
We saw a little bit of glimpses in the preseason games in Abu Dhabi with Jalen Brunson. Wants to run. Obviously, he wants to feed the open man on our fast break. We saw a couple of lobs from him. I liked what I saw versus Philly, Chris. Especially the full court passes from Jalen Brunson. He caught a couple of times. Mitchell Robinson, we already seen the Knicks integrate him within the Knicks offense. They want to catch about 3 or 4 lobs for Mitchell Robinson per game, and I do think they can. I think he's that gifted of a player, Mitchell Robinson. Excuse me, not a scorer. He's not a gifted scorer, but he's a gifted lob threat, vertical threat. Yeah,
there you go.
And I just feel like the Knicks have been missing that element in their offense. So look, is it going to be an adjustment for JB? Yeah, of course. And I'm not gonna say it's gonna be perfect, right? I mean, he did slim down. We've seen him slim down in preparation to run fast, to play fast. Every coach that gets the new job, it seems like they want to just, we're going to play fast. But look, it only time will tell if the New York Knicks can play fast, and we're already seeing them put up 40, 53s a game. And Jalen Brunson last year, 38% three-point shooter, solid catch and shoot three-point shooter, off the dribble shooter from 3. Whole package, 82% free throw shooter. Assists per game have gone up every single season, Chris. I know it's small increments, 7.3 assists per game last year. Demonstrates that he can be a dual threat as a playmaker. And I truly do think that he can average 8-9 assists a game, especially within this offense. 26 points per game last year, 35.4 minutes per game last year. Heavy workload from Jalen Brunson in the playoffs. That even was, I think, 39 minutes per game. That ticked up 65 games last year because of the ankle injury he sustained in LA, if you don't remember that. So, clutch player of the year, Chris, in clutch time. You can talk about playing fast. Throw that out the window. Just get the ball to number 11.
Yeah. Clutch player, right? Clutch player of the year.
Get in the basketball.
You gotta. And that's a point I wanted to bring up, actually, that yes, the new offense seems to be predicated on obviously running up and down the court, being faster, moving faster, and swinging the ball around, right? Which is nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where the biggest adjustment's gonna come for Jalen Brunson, because let's be honest, a lot of the offense last year on the Tibbs was give Jalen Brunson the ball and get out of the way. That's pretty much what it was, not only in crunch time, but most of the majority of the game.
Yeah.
And then if it wasn't that, it was like, all right, Cat's turn. We'll give JB a rest on the bench or something, and then whatever. So I think that's going to be a big adjustment, and I think that's what we're seeing in the preseason is that just that the ball is moving a lot more, and JB isn't really needed to just go ISO every single time. So I think overall that's going to obviously benefit us. It's going to get everybody else involved, and I think it's going to make our players, and including Jalen Brunson, even that more dangerous once they kind of get into a flow of things. But once crunch time comes,
Hmm.
Jalen Brunson is definitely going to have the ball in his hands.
Yeah, of course, as he should. I mean, as he should. I mean, he's the most elite one-on-one player in the NBA, top 5, I would say. Clutch player of the year for a reason. The ball's in his hands at the end of the basketball game, and you should trust that. But then again, the Knicks want to emphasize this season, this new system. Even Jalen Brunson has said everything is going to be new. I mean, the offense is far from a complete product, Chris.
Yeah.
It's work in progress, as we saw in their last preseason game versus the Washington Wizards. The bench, in my opinion, like they're a deep team in quotation marks, but that showing against Washington was kind of a concern. And now Malcolm Brogdon just all of a sudden decided to retire out of the blue.
Yeah.
So
That
look,
was weird.
weird, right? And extremely weird. And some analysts predicted MVP season from Jalen Brunson this year, Chris, and I think he has it in him. It's just a matter of how you look at this. Like, do you feel like the Knicks have the personnel to play fast, or do you feel like Jalen Brunson is just elite ISO player and that's his game? Like when you take him away from that, like you just stated, your concerns, is it one going to the offense is going to change? Is it one going to kind of shift his usage to a point where it's like, man, we have Jalen Brunson and he's an elite ISO player and he's not being his field goal attempts go down and obviously it depends on the record. If the Knicks are winning, who cares? But
Right.
it's all about how you look at this, Chris. Like, do you think they have the personnel? Do you think Jalen Brunson can play fast? Do you think all this stuff is good to say in the media, right? Like I said, honeymoon stage, but
Yeah.
you got to see it on the court. And yes, it's been up and down preseason play from the New York Knicks, but I feel like it will get better. And I just feel like ultimately, Chris, he's a gifted player. He's a gifted scorer. I feel like he'll adapt.
Ultimately, I think he'll adapt. I think he'll be fine. I mean, I'll go back to even, obviously playing under Tibbs, last year. Slower
Yeah.
pace, yes, but I felt like they did play fast at times, and especially when the ball was moving, right? They played well. And
Mm-hmm.
that was probably the only time where you kind of didn't have to rely on ISO Brunson. It was during that stretch where the Knicks were playing amazing, the first half of the season where they were, ranked second, third, or even first ranked offensive team in the league. Obviously, that dropped off a cliff after that. But, my point being that if there's ball movement, JB played well not having to ISO. So I think he will adjust. I mean, obviously things are going to be moving a lot quicker, but I guess the most important part is that it seems like almost everybody has bought into Mike Brown's system, right?
Yeah.
Early
Yeah.
on, including Jalen Brunson. And when you got the captain buying in, when you got Karl Anthony Towns buying in and guys like that, I think that's the biggest key there. One way or the other, they're going to find a way to make things work. So while I am a little bit concerned, but that's just concern over the drastic change, right? Because look, it is a big change going from what we've ran the past 5 years under Tom Thibodeau versus what Mike Brown is trying to instill on this team now, where everything is just fast paced, constant motion. Don't let the ball stick. Get the ball out of your hands as quickly. Make a decision, right? That's what we keep hearing Mike Brown say. Get the ball, make a quick decision.
Yep.
Make a decision. Don't just hold the ball. Don't let the defense be able to get set. So ultimately, look, Jalen Brunson, that's our captain. He's gonna find a way to make things work.
Defense is obviously a liability, right? I mean, him and Karl Anthony Towns, two of the next defensive liabilities in the starting lineup, which is why they're going to start Mitchell Robinson, right? So in the playoffs, things kind of shrink a little bit, and that's what we're kind of talking about here. I mean, things kind of shrink, rotations shrink, minutes increase. That's where Jalen Brunson shines the most. And last year, Chris, we saw the Knicks offense thrive on ball movement. Remember that? I mean, there was a stretch in the beginning of the season heading into like January where the New York Knicks were just awesome, on fire, because the ball was moving, the ball was flowing. Jalen Brunson was a part of that, Chris. He was just distributing the basketball, moving the basketball, and I feel like the Knicks want to get they want to get to that point. OG Anunoby needs the basketball. Mikal Bridges, I think, needs the basketball. And what we're seeing from Mikal Bridges, in my opinion, I think he's the X factor to all this working, Chris. We could talk about Jalen, obviously, and Cat, but if Mikal Bridges has a big all-star season for the New York Knicks, then we can get to where we want to get to, in my opinion. Obviously, the head of the snake, Jalen Brunson, has to take it upon himself to get everyone else involved first. And when an offense that was just predicated on ISO last year, remember it was Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, your turn, my turn, and Mikal mixed in there, OG sometimes mixed in there. That's why the Knicks shifted away from that. But when you have a great ISO player, it's like, where do you find the median, right? So he's going to be awesome, Chris. He's going to be an all-star. He's going to average over 25 points. He's going to average over 7 assists a game. He's going to shoot 38% from three. I'm looking at his assist numbers, though, Chris, and I'm looking at the defense with him and Karl-Anthony Towns. Obviously, we all know what the great stuff from JB. He's awesome in the playoffs. He's probably, the most exciting player to watch in the playoffs. But it's whether you think ultimately he can adapt to this new offense. And I pretty much think that's the question. Do you feel like this team, led by Jalen Brunson, can adapt to this new offense, reach the NBA Finals, somewhere they haven't been in 26 years, Chris?
I mean, look, I think they will. I think they will, and I think JB will as well. I think, look, all the news out there, everybody's like hopping on the bandwagon, right? Saying Knicks are going to make they're the favorites and this and that. I'm not really focused on that. Do I think the Knicks are going to make it far? Hell yeah, I do. I do have high expectations for this team. And granted, I would have liked Malcolm Brogdon to have been on this team as a backup PG for JB. I still think this team definitely has what it takes. And I think they do have the personnel to not only play Mike Brown's system and play it the right way, but to make a deep run in the postseason. So I think JB is going to be fine. One thing that got me excited during the preseason is we're starting to see those actions with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson running pick and rolls. That right there could boost in its own JB's assist rate, if he's getting Karl-Anthony Towns going and vice versa. Because, look, that was one of my biggest complaints under Tibbs. I just felt he kept Cat in the corner, and it didn't make sense to have two dominant all-stars in Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns and not ever run a pick and roll between the two. Like, you just got to choose your poison there. Why not run that? So, luckily, we're seeing that a little bit with Mike Brown, and I'm sure, look, preseason, we saw just a glimpse of what he's trying to do. I'm sure he's going to have some sets where maybe a few passes and then you got an ISO situation for Cat or JB at one end or something like that. This guy, Mike Brown is a smart man. So we haven't even seen the true offense that I think is to come for this New York Knicks squad.
Look, he's the guy you turn to in the fourth quarter, and it's refreshing to have that on your basketball team. Like, Jalen Brunson, go get us a bucket. Thank you.
He'll get it.
We won the game. We saw it in the playoffs versus the Detroit Pistons. It's just it's there.
It's a luxury, right? Because like sometimes you just need that. Like, hey, save us, please. Like, now it shouldn't be every single night, but you get my drift.
Look, like I said, his defense. How much he could really improve, Chris? He's 6'2" guard, but defensive liability. Him and Cat. That's something that we're gonna have to watch. Is that sustainable? Look, it can. Obviously, the minutes will go down, I believe. I don't think he will have the heavy minute load that he did have, but there's also going to be questions like how would the Knicks and Brunson handle the adversity if this Knicks team struggles early on under Mike Brown. And I feel like this is the judge year. Like, this is the year where you got this shiny toy hanging around in Milwaukee, right? You got this shiny, like, Not a shiny toy. What? He's more than a shiny toy, Chris. What is he? Like he's like, I don't know.
Generational talent.
Yeah, you let's like you remember as a 10-year-old, you wake up for Christmas and you're like, man, you see all this. That's what's under the tree. I feel like maybe one of the items. I feel like what I'm trying to say is, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But if it doesn't work with this unit, Chris, Knicks can pivot and go that route with Giannis Antetokounmpo. But I feel like this has to be a season where the New York Knicks have to improve and reach the NBA Finals, at least reach the Eastern Conference Finals, and who knows from there. But there's so much pressure on this season, so much pressure on Brunson. I feel like if they take a step back, there will be noise. There will be people knocking at the door saying, "Look, Brunson Cat duo doesn't work. It's cool in It's cool in the regular season, cool at times in the playoffs, but defense wins NBA championships, and Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns in the same lineup is a defensive liability, and it's just not going to work." That is what I'm going to be watching this year, Chris, because now you know there's somebody out there who wants to be on the New York Knicks, and he just happens to be a top 3 NBA player in the NBA. Ooh. And you pair him with JB, and let's go. It's a big season, man. It's a big season.
Yeah, look, obviously with all the expectations, like I mentioned previously, everybody basically saying Knicks are favorites, Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of pressure, I feel like, this season, especially now with the news that Giannis, wanted to go to the Knicks. He said, hey, that's the team I want to go to if there is a trade. So, like, that adds even more fuel to the fire. Because, I mean, you're not just talking about just any player. This is clearly, it's Giannis. This guy can single-handedly win you games, just he's unmatched with his physicals and the way he plays. You could see the fit with Brunson, man. But like you mentioned, I think the key is exactly what you mentioned.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out with Cat and JB and they just constantly getting exposed and that's the weakness, yeah, you end up sacrificing 3-point shooting when you get Giannis, but he can defend. And maybe that makes up for things and you find 3-point shooting somewhere else. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure, man. And if the Knicks stumble, it's going to be interesting to see how JB and the squad reacts to it. Because for the most part, they haven't really faced too much adversity until it comes to like postseason time, in my opinion.
Yep.
So, new coach, new system, got to learn everything, brand spanking new.
Yeah.
I mean, the pressure's definitely there, and they know it. They know they're built for the postseason, and hopefully they don't struggle too much because you know how it gets here in New York, man.
Fans.
It gets hot quick.
We're all gonna
quick.
Yeah, I don't think they'll struggle. I feel like there's gonna be bumpy road along the ride, but I ultimately do think we'll have success in the postseason. But yeah, JB, I mean, he's awesome. He's amazing, man. I mean, just incredible basketball player, and it's a privilege to have him on the New York Knicks. And I'm just excited to watch another season of Jalen Brunson go to work. Excited to see what he added to his arsenal, Chris, and just excited to see him lead this Knicks team to another playoff berth. And hopefully this time we can reach the NBA Finals and maybe win it for the first time since 1973. Anything else you want to say on JB? I feel like we covered quite a bit.
Nah, JB's good, man. JB, keep doing what you're doing. Our captain, look, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. I could say all the little concerns I want, but ultimately that's our captain. And I know at the end of the day, he's going to get the job done.
That is the player preview for Jalen Brunson. In case you're new here, we're doing a player preview for every single Knick. You can catch the player previews in the middle of the screen. Appreciate every single one of you. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit the Discord, giving away some KnicksNation gear, live chats, live stream. Hit the Twitter account at KnicksNation, Apple, Spotify, at KnicksNation. See the KnicksNation logo. Please follow the show. And please leave us a review. It really helps us out on the audio side. Obviously on YouTube at KnicksNation. We have the KnicksNation hats live on the shop, Chris. Chris is rocking the black one. I'm rocking the blue one. Season is coming, guys. 1 week away. We are recording this on October 15th. It is by the time you're probably hearing this, less than a week away. So we're excited. So tune in to the Knicks Nation channel. Appreciate you guys as always. I'm Anthony from Knicks Nation.
I'm Chris.
Catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.